And continue. Welcome. So I want to welcome everybody. I hope I'm broadcasting live. If you are watching now I see we've got a bunch of attendees joining in. A question was asked about audio. You should not only see me, and in fact, let me go ahead, I'll zoom in here. Have it kind of zoomed out so I can walk around. We're in a live space. But I just want to welcome everybody to today's webcast. My name is Michael Giannotti. I'm a Principal Technology Specialist for Microsoft, focusing on all things, as of now, Office 365. And today we're going to be talking about driving adoption with Microsoft 365 services. This is session 1. So just kind of lay out what's going to happen. Actually, I'm going to hold that for one moment. We have a couple of housekeeping items. As you go, some people have asked me, was there call-in options, etc.? No, there is not. Will the session be recorded? Yes. Joining from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Bam, welcome. So we have folks starting to tune in. I do want to say this, we welcome your questions, but let's go ahead and do our housekeeping so we can kick this off. We got a lot to cover and 1 hour to do it. So we're going to go ahead and advance our slide. First of all, this event is brought to you by the Microsoft Healthcare and Life Sciences Group. You can always visit us and find all the posts from myself and my colleagues at aka.ms/HLS-blog. That's aka.ms/HLS-blog. Continuing on with our housekeeping. Today's broadcast, video and audio, my audio right here, is brought to you by Logitech Meetup. It's an all-in-one huddle room solution. I actually have it mounted on a tripod over here in the room. It's highly portable, but meant for huddle room solutions. It has auto framing of participants. If you turn that on, I'm actually using their remote, which also works on my phone as a soft remote as well. Minimal cable. I have one cable up to my PC. 4K image sensor, 5x zoom. I've got it set back a ways, and I can certainly zoom in on me. Beamforming microphones, etc. But if you have questions about the meetup and the type of equipment I use for these broadcasts, you can learn more about Logitech. Just go to logitech.com. You can learn about all their solutions for everything from small huddle rooms like I have here on the left, all the way up to large auditorium style. So before we begin, a couple of quick housekeeping items. First of all, if you have questions, ask. Again, question was, is there a call-in option? No. This is a webcast or a webinar. So you can type questions, post those. Audio is provided through the feed here. So you should be able to set all that up. But we do encourage you ask questions as we go. So I'm in here. Dave Upton, my colleague, is in the back here in our live studio audience room. And so Dave's back there. He'll be feeding me questions as we go, monitoring them, replying to you. We definitely want to give you shout outs as we go. We love to hear from you. So tell us where you're from, such as Arlington, Texas. Boom. Also, yes, this session, this was asked and it's on this slide. This and tomorrow's session will be recorded. They will be available at, you guessed it, aka.ms/HLS-blog. That's aka.ms/HLS-blog. We'll have that up there and resources I'll be talking about later. So all the slides you see today, the recording, and something special that you got to tune in today and tomorrow if you want to get your hands on all 53 pages of it, or 56. All right, moving on. Next, real quickly, how to engage the Q&A panel. If you're not already familiar, and I see folks already jumping in, but if you don't see the Q&A panel at the top right-hand portion, you'll see a little dialog box with a question mark. If it's not open, you can click that to open it. And then down at the bottom, you can go ahead and post your name if you want. It's purely optional. And then ask a question. You can post as anonymous. You don't have to worry then, we won't know who's asking. You can ask questions. It is moderated, hence Dave Upton in the back here, so that if anybody posts anything, because this is a wide open public broadcast, anybody could tune in. It is moderated, which is something you might want for your corporate environment, right? So we'll go ahead and cue those up, and that's it. So we're going to go on to the presentation. I want to get started, and we're going to talk about the agenda very quickly. So first of all, today we're going to address the challenge that we're addressing with this solution that we're going to talk about today. Then we're going to go through the solution. The way that for these 2 days are going to work is this. Today, we're going to actually stand up the pillars or the foundation for our integrated solution with Microsoft 365 services, right? So we're going to stand up each of the pieces, things like learning pathways, special secured channels and stream and other components. Then tomorrow, we're going to integrate them all together, but we're going to do an end-to-end solution that you can follow along with. I mentioned a 50-some-odd page document that I'm going to make available. You watch today and tomorrow. At the end, I'm going to provide for attendees. I have documented step by step a complete click here, click here, click here. So everything we're going to do, you can take and do yourself if you desire. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to do each of the components you can see here. I'm not going to read through them all and waste time with that because we're going to go through them, but we're going to stand up each of the pillars. Then at the end, I'm going to do a couple of quick things. I'm going to show you how you can create some of your own custom content using Microsoft tools that are readily available to you today. Even if you have just Windows or Office, how you can do that. Then we're going to kind of wrap up where we're at and prep for tomorrow. During the day, like I said, if you have questions, go ahead, post those. We'll save those during segments. I'll break, ask if there's a question, but certainly we've got a lot to cover, but I do want to take your questions. I will stay after on the webcast after the 1 o'clock deadline. So if there's people who want to continue asking questions and dialogue, know that that'll be available as well. But if you have to go, totally get it. And I scheduled this for 1 hour. So like I said, fast and furious today. I see Dave's very intent back there staring.
Not getting the moderator side.
You're not getting it. I thought I made you a moderator. Well, Dave's not going to be moderating because I didn't make him a moderator. So I'll be moderating. So there we go. So how about this? If I publish him, you can see him, right?
Yes.
I'll just as we go, quickly start publishing. I don't even know what I'm publishing. So if somebody said something I shouldn't be publishing, I apologize. That's what we get. This is the LBN, the low budget network. So you take what you can get. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. If I can get back to there we go. All right, so first of all, the challenge. We have some customers here in the room. We have many more that are online. And certainly one of the things we've heard loud and clear at Microsoft over the last 2 years, roughly, as we've been working with healthcare and life sciences, but certainly in all the vertical industries, right? Whether you're in retail, manufacturing, whether you're in financial services, a common theme we have here is, look, as we're going to roll out this stuff, you guys are going fast and furious. You got new updates every single quarter. How do we keep up with that? How do we keep our users educated and supported in these efforts as we're doing that, right? So not just the IT folks, but all of our end users. How can we do that? And then also, as we're rolling out these services that are meant to plug and play and work together, IT starts asking, when do I use what? When do I tell people to use what? We got Yammer, I got Teams, I got SharePoint, I got this, I got that, I got blah, blah, blah. When do I use what, right? So how is it meant to work together? And then finally, how do we start to integrate some of these into specific solutions for our organization without having to do a bunch of coding and other things that might hold it up, or layer on all kinds of third-party add-ons just to get basic functionality that we would expect. And so that's really the challenge that we've been seeing, and that's where today's solution that we're going to be starting with, is going to come in. So what we're going to be looking at is configuring something that's meant to be extensible. If you follow along, literally, if you're an IT person and you have tenant admin access, you can follow along with me today. You could be done in 2 hours or less. building a solution for test or POC type environment to start to work with. But it's meant to be extensible. So we're going to go through how to get started and how you can do this, but we're also going to show you how you can extend this for your own organization. Perhaps maybe you're rolling out not just Office 365, but other non-Microsoft, even competing software and services in your org. You might have Epic rolling out. You might be rolling out Salesforce or some other type of software or service out there for your internal customers. How can you extend what we're going to show around providing support and training for your users and extend it to meet that? So we're going to go through how we can do that using elements like SharePoint for content presentation and delivery, streaming media services, both live and on demand, to actually have that, like right now, we're doing Show Me How. How many of you that are in here today, if you had to go ahead and stand up something, let's say you go home and you need to do electrical work on your house. Do you want to go, what do? Do you go look for documentation, or do you go to someplace else to show you what to do? Where? YouTube, right? People are always on you. Hey, show me how. I actually did a project over this weekend. I did a totally different one, not electrical, but I was on YouTube. I went to multiple, show me little pieces of stuff that I needed, right? So video, people want to consume video, show me how to do something, which is what we're going to talk about. So our solution, like I said, will have many things. We're going to start off with something called Microsoft Learning Pathway. The Learning Pathway solution is built on SharePoint. We'll be learning about that, but we're going to have that as a core presentation element. We're going to layer into that pieces like Yammer for microblogging discussions, right? Interactive threaded discussions that have, they have statefulness around them. People can go back, search on them, and continue to pose questions within that. We'll integrate that in. We're going to have streaming with Microsoft Stream, like I said, for on-demand content and live events integrated in. We're going to manage it all through Teams. We're going to tie Teams and wrap it, and then we'll see, some of these other elements as well. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to go ahead real quickly, and we are going to exit this view here and pull up a quick example just to kind of show you. So this is kind of a quick look as to what we're going to be building. So here you can see we have a modern SharePoint site based off of what we call learning pathways. There's web parts with Q&A for users, etc. But notice how we also have here a piece, if I go actually to the home for learning, I'm an administrator, right? So I have the edit, where I can actually customize this, and we're going to see how we can do this later, a lot more on that tomorrow, but it's a fully customizable solution. What kind of content do I want to show? I have a video that was from a live presentation on privacy that's now still here live and on demand. We have other video content, we have events, we also even have Q&A discussions taking place. So how do we provision all this? How do we stand this up? Make it available to our users where they can access it anytime, any place, on any device. This is a responsive design site. It's modern web with SharePoint, reframes out. It also will surface through the SharePoint app and other mechanisms. So working on both here in, as a browser-based solution on a PC, but certainly on mobile. We need to go on tablets, etc. So let's go ahead and jump into the first component of our solution, which is and if I can get my mouse, there we go. The first piece is learning pathways. So we're going to talk about kind of an introduction, and then we're going to do the provisioning. I said we'll set up each piece, and this is where I expect discussion. And then we'll do the actual building and provisioning of it, right? So again, if you're at home, feel free to go ahead and post those. So I have, how can I listen? How can I call in to listen on my headset? Somebody just asked. So do you want to respond?
I can't respond.
Oh, no, on the you can just post something though, can't you?
Post.
As an
They're
attendee.
gonna come to you.
Yeah, oh, well, there you go, and then I'll approve it. All right. So let's go ahead and let's start with our first section. So what is the learning pathway? So Microsoft Learning Pathway, it's customizable solution. And when I say a solution, that means it is a pre-configured site. Today, if you stand up SharePoint, we have things like, and this is based on it, we have, informational sites that you can stand up and have them deliver news and all that kind of that good stuff in a responsive design, but they're blank. There's nothing there. You have to build all the content. What the Learning Pathways is, it's a customizable solution that's built on SharePoint that's meant for you to go out, and I'm really having issues with my mouse, there we go, that when you go ahead, we call it a first run experience. The second we provision it, it's pre-populated. It is, if you do nothing else but provision it, you will have delivered value to your organization because it's a first run piece. We actually have an online catalog, not on premise for you, an online catalog of content for all of Microsoft 365. So all the Office 365 services, Office on the desktop and Windows, we have pre-done training and we update that training on a quarterly basis. Just like, but then we have pre-configured in the site a customizable series of web parts that will pull that content automatically for you, right? So it's up to date and it will continue to be up to date as we go. And it's easily set up. This whole service to set it up in your environment, you're going to see we have something called the SharePoint provisioning service that allows you to go quickly in and there we go. Allows you to quickly go in and provision this particular site and set it up and have it already working with just a few clicks. And I'm moving my phone over here. I'm getting phone calls. There we go. All right. So continuing on, why did we build it? I already talked about that. People wanted support. They wanted things, but they also wanted a solution that while it's out of the box, they want to be able to manage it, right? They want to be able to customize it. They want to do their own branding. They want to be able to pick what content shows and doesn't show, and then to centralize, have one place to go for all your training. Today, if you want to get training on Office 365 from Microsoft, where do you go?
Brainstorm's quick help site that's linked to our
So
PT.
you have a contract with Brainstorm, right? And there's also Help, right? There's LinkedIn. There's a bunch of places, right? It's all over the place. So how can we take and start to centralize that in one-stop shop, right? It's not an LMS or learning management system. It's not focused on compliance and those things, but focused on kind of that training and support around our products and then being able to extend it, but bringing it all together in one spot. So for us, that's been important. Yes, so somebody asked if it can be renamed from Learning Pathways. Yes, I'm going to show you how. So we're going to do that as part of it. And is it included? Is this included, Dave?
Download it from PMP.
You're going to see, yeah. If you have SharePoint Online, you own it. There's nothing else.
Really?
You already own it. We're not charging you for it. So that's a beautiful thing. All right, so continuing on. So the first thing is this. I already talked about you get a full experience, you get up-to-date content. One of the pieces you're going to see is it is meant to be customized. So here we see a screen real quickly that's showing us that I can go in as an IT. Remember I showed you that little drop down with me as an admin? I can go in there as that admin and I can pick and choose. Maybe we haven't rolled out Teams or Planner or OneNote or some other service that's a part of 365, and I don't want my users seeing that yet to get confused. So I can simply go in, it looks like an eyeball. See, don't see. You click it, it doesn't show. It's that simple. And as we roll out new content, again, you can meter and control that by turning on and off those things that you want to provide. But let's take it one step further. Not only that, as you create some of your own content or have third-party content, sources like LinkedIn or others, and you want to bring that in, you can do that. We have a whole framework for creating custom playlists within the Learning Pathways solution. So you can add YouTube videos, you could add stuff from LinkedIn, wherever. We don't care. You can even drop in stuff that's in your environment, PDFs, forms if you want to have testing and quizzing and querying of people. That's all built in. Finally, within that, we can even do deep links into other SharePoint content and other things. Pull that in, again, so you don't have to recreate the wheel if you have stuff, and you might want to pull existing content that's there. With all of that, as you create the content, you want to be able to socialize that in your organization. So we have built right into all of that, again, the ability to share playlists. So maybe there's a specific playlist that's coming out and you want to promote that to your org or to your division or group. That function's built right in. So it's just a quick click and send that out and let people use that. Now, to set this whole solution up, which we're going to do in about 2 minutes, there is a couple of prerequisites that need to be adhered to. So if you are trying to follow along, this is where you get to scramble, or hopefully you read, I had pointers earlier on my stuff of where to go. But these are the things that need to be done. Number one, SharePoint Online and communication sites need to be enabled. This is based on those communication sites.
What's communication sites?
Thank you. That's a great question. I just got asked, and I got a bunch of stuff here. And as soon as I get this provisioned, we're going to go through a bunch of the questions. So I got asked, what is a communication site? A communication site is a modern web design meant to communicate. You're familiar with team sites, which are really all around collaborating, sharing content, and doing things. They've been around forever. Communication site is really modeled on this idea of a few to many communications. Now, you may have documents and stuff, but it's essentially not collaborative. It's informational in nature. Also presenting other pieces. And I got asked custom learning. So yes, I'll talk about that in a bit. We're going to get to that in 1 sec. So they're really around that, and they're based on the modern web design in SharePoint Online. They're not the older sites where they auto resize. They have newer web parts that also are modern web that can, auto resize and lay out according to the device that's being presented. So that's the first thing. You have to have that enabled, otherwise it won't be able to instantiate. The next thing is this: the individual who's provisioning it has to be a tenant admin. So I am tenant admin in my particular one that we're going to do this in. So you need to be a tenant admin because it's going to ask you for some top level acceptance to provision the site over. You also need to have provisioned the tenant app catalog. Right? So you go in, this is done through SharePoint. There's a whole bunch around that. You go into SharePoint, you provision an app catalog. I just named mine apps. It takes a few minutes to provision. They say in here, wait 30 minutes. It doesn't take that long. It's a few minutes. But if you wait 30 minutes, you're safe, and then you can go ahead and do that. I already pre-provisioned mine, so we don't have to wait for that. But you need to do that, provision that app catalog. And then finally, that same person needs to be the site collector. He needs to be, site collection administrator of that site collection for the apps that was created, which if you're creating it, you automatically are. So not a lot to do. All right. So having said all that, let's come here and let's go ahead and provision. So we are going to exit, if I can get my mouse back here, out of the PowerPoint. Oops. And slideshow, there we go. And we are going to pull up, in our case, this is the environment. So here you can see this is my tenant environment. I am a tenant admin. I'm already logged in. You want to be logged in already. You can see here we've already set up the apps catalog. That's already been pre-provisioned. Just real quickly, if you don't know how to do that and you've never done it before, the easiest way to do it, just click on Classic Features down here, go to Apps, say Open, and it's a little wizard that's going to walk you through App Catalog. You click on that, and the wizard will walk you through setting one up. Takes a whole of about 5 minutes. We're not going to bother with that though, because we've already done that. And so I'm going to come back here again to our sites, just so we see that. And what we're going to go is to something called the SharePoint Online Provisioning Services. Now, in the documentation, I have a link directly to it. All you need to do though is type in, go into Bing, and I don't have my Bing button. Bing, you Bing it. If you want to do some other search engine, you can. But you're going to go ahead and go over to the SharePoint Online Provisioning Services, and this is what you're going to see. It is a site, by the way, that has a lot more than what we're going to work with today. So if you look, you can see here, there's a bunch of sample sites. If you need to get your hands on modern websites to see what kind of things can be done with pre-populated content for test, you know, and kind of dissect it and work backwards, this is a great place to go. So we have examples like you can see here, a leadership site. We've got HR sites, working sites, different portal, right? Product marketing, marketing landing. There's a SharePoint starter kit that brings a bunch of cool web parts that you get, provisions them to there. But what we're going to do is go up here to the top. Right now we're in samples. We're going to click on solutions. There's 2 complete solutions meant to be able to deploy and for you to start working with. The first of which is Microsoft Learning, the 365 Learning Pathway, which we're going to use. I want to let you know right now up front that when I click on this, it's going to bring me here. The Learning Pathways site is launching soon. Out of what we call preview. Today it's still preview. So I'm going to go ahead. We were in a kind of a like juggling. Is it going to be released or not for today? I'll just say it's coming soon. And when I say soon, I mean very soon. But the Learning Pathways solution that we have here, it enables us to go in and quickly provision it. And look at, I mean, it's real simple. It has an explanation about it, tells all about it here, and has links back to read about it. There's in-depth documentation. Again, I have it in links to that in my docs on how to customize and extend the solution. But for us, we're going to click right here, add to your tenant. It's very complicated. And it's going to ask me, hey, permissions required. These are the things. And so I have to consent. Again, this is why you need to be a tenant admin. I'm consenting on behalf of my organization. I'm going to go ahead and click accept. And it's going to now, it's got the consent, going to the set. It's going to ask me some questions here. It's now into the provisioning piece, right? So I can cancel out of this if I want, but it asks, what email do I want to have it sent to? So this is that admin's email in this tenant environment. You can change that to whatever. Then it asks, what's the URL? By default, it's putting it here under our tenant sites and then a name. I'm just going to use the default, but if you want to name that URL something different, and this brings up something. Somebody asked about the custom learning. Is this something new? It's been rebranded. So that was Christiana Care was asking. That's one of yours, right? Or was one. So Christiana Care was just asking about, you know, Office 365 and, you know, and if this custom learning, it's the same solution. It's been, they've rebranded it, but it's, you're already working with it. You can do the things that we're going to be doing. So it's already there. And in fact, if you look at the URL, it has O365CL custom learning. They didn't change that, right? So we can change it if we wanted to. I'm not going to because I'm lazy. So I'm going to click provision. It's going to validate the prerequisites. Dun, dun, dun. Go, go, go. La-da-dee. Waiting, waiting, waiting.
while we wait, Mike,
Yeah,
how does this, once you provision it,
yes.
running in your environment, how is it going to get updated?
So we're going to talk about that in the customizing, but yeah, so from an updating standpoint, all the content that's in it is done locally to ours.
I'm sure you're spinning up there, right?
Yeah, it does not look like I am, so I'm going to open up my email here just so I can take a look at our online provisioning. See if I got a note. Yeah, got it. No, it does not look like. There we go. Thank you. I got a misfire. So this is the provisioning, just so you know, I don't know if you saw that, that's also in preview. They're both soon to be released. So if it doesn't go, click it again. That's what we did. You should get this confirmation box. Once we've done so, there we go. Now it's let us know. It says you will get an email from SharePoint when the new modern site is available to you. We're not going to wait for it. We're going to keep plowing on because it's been, but that's it. That's all it took. We'll come back to that in a bit as soon as we see that email come through. But the first pillar of our solution, the base that everything is going to tie in to present to our users, is now being provisioned. Any questions on that? And I'm going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at our, wow, I got a whole bunch. So we're going to go to, I saw just hello from Texas. Mike, really low, or is it only me? It may be you. So let's go to our publish. We have a ton of stuff. So here we go. Real quickly, before we move on, are these instructions documented somewhere? Yes, they are. There are in-depth instructions on the website. I also have a step-by-step 53-page document that walks you through everything I'm doing today and tomorrow. So you'll have access to that tomorrow when I post the recordings. Hello from Texas. Hello to you. We love Texas. For managing learning pathways site, would this role be for IT or business? Depends on your governance. Typically, this will fall under SharePoint, but because it is so business focused, you're probably going to have a small team, just a couple of people who have different aspects of it, like managing content versus structural changes. So IT would do your structural, business might, like communications, probably involved with content, right? Or even training. Was the mic moved? I said I was fading out. It might be because I walked away. And again, so I'm going to stay put right here. And let's see if I have anything else. We've got, do we have code behind learning pathways so I can customize it? No, there is, you can't customize before deploying. So great question. You can customize it after. Just don't give access until you've gotten it to where you would like. Can you zoom out on the video so we can see a wide view? They don't want to see me, they want to see a wide view. So there we go. We'll zoom out. There we go. Thank you. Can someone tell him he's walking off the camera? Yes, I'm now told. So I'll stick it right here. We use quick help from Brainstorm. Excellent. They have great stuff. What's the difference between that and Learning Pathways? Learning Pathways is our content that we're producing. Brainstorm does in-depth stuff around a whole range. And in fact, you may want to marry the two, right? So taking your Brainstorm content and you could surface it here if you want to provide a single solution. We'll get into that. So that's a great question. Is Learning Pathway included? Yes. Can the title be changed? Yes, I said that. And I get, oh, joining from Switzerland. Hello, I love Switzerland. And I have India, we have Deerfield, Illinois, Burlington, North Carolina, Germany, love Germany. I was stationed in Zurndorf 2 years, so I love going there. Arlington, Texas, and a bunch of others. All right, so we're going to continue on. So our solution is provisioning right now. We're going to go ahead though, and we want to move forward with now beginning the next piece of our solution. So let's go ahead.
How long does the provisioning take? 10,
15 minutes. That's why I said I don't want to wait on that. because there are other things we can stand up in the meantime. So we've got a solution standing up, and it's going to be pre-populated with a ton of content, but you probably have your own content. So for example, in your guys' org, you guys are going to have things when you roll out, let's say, Office, that maybe you have internal templates that you use, right? And you want to demonstrate the templates, or solutions using Excel and other things. Same with you guys, right? So as you create custom content, we're going to need to present that up. And Microsoft Stream provides the best way to do that because, again, it's video. It's show me how. Little short snippets of, instead of documenting something like I documented 50-something pages, which took me out, not just hours, took me several days to document. Instead of doing that, you can go ahead and create a quick video, show me how, in 5 minutes. Right? How to do something. So Stream enables us to do that. And we're going to be using Stream. Like I said, it is that enterprise video for secure collaboration and, at an organizational level. If you have not seen Stream, this is what we're going to be looking at. Stream provides us that kind of a video portal for the whole enterprise. It's built on Azure Media Services. Somebody was asking me earlier about ownership. And what you have, you own it if you have 365. So E1 and above has access to this, the ability to publish content and to do live video, right? So it allows us to do things like organize it. We're going to see that. We're going to create a channel and group so we can secure content. You can see trending videos. You can upload and manage those and control who does that. Like videos, so all kinds of social pieces are enabled. And again, it's really meant to layer into this broader ecosystem. So you can see here, we see a number of the things here around, not only Stream video, but how it can layer into some of the other pieces. We have direct integration into Yammer, which we're not going to get into today or tomorrow, but that's there and you can learn more about that. We have direct into SharePoint, automatic integration. I'm going to go into that, how simple and easy it is to surface both on demand and live into your portals, divisional, organizational, etc. And it's all built, as a part of this overall ecosystem to be able to cross-populate your content together. So let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at Stream and see what it takes to provision. I can get back here. Provision what we call a secure group. So I'm going to go ahead and bring back up our site. We're going to come on over here and I'm going to open Stream in a new tab. And this is going to bring us to that opening portal. So you can see here, welcome back. And I have at the very top, we have a little banner doing some rotation of content. We can have, again, trending videos, popular channels. But what we want to do is this. When you publish videos, I don't want to wander off. If you're publishing video content and you're doing it to the whole org, do you just create something and throw it out there without anybody looking at it? You do?
We have some business users that do that.
Business users and users, but if you're doing it at an organizational level, and there's different, actually it brings up a great point. There's different use cases, right? Stream is great for tacit knowledge capture. Me as an end user at Microsoft, I might throw up video just on the fly because it's user generated content. But when you're doing organizational, like for our learning site, that kind of content usually has to go through an approval process, right? So we want to have stuff reviewed and approved. So what we're going to do is in order to have an approval area, we want to set up a secure, what we call a group. And a group in Office 365 is a security construct that allows us to have people assigned to it that are going to go in and have access and content. When we create a channel tied to that group, that means the only people who can see that content is people in that group, which also means only they can look at it, preview it, review it, and then publish it to a broader channel for the open. So what we're going to do, it's 3 steps, and it's simple. We're going to set up a group that's going to provide the security for the review and approval of video content. Publish, review, and approve for the official video content for our site. We're going to create a channel tied to that security group that's going to allow us then to be able to have a place to put the content so they can see it. And then we're going to create an open channel that the whole org can see anything that's added to it that's going to be integrated into our training portal. So we'll have secure, published content, gets reviewed, pushed over into, so we get an approval process, right? And it's simple. To do this, we're going to come on up to create, and we're going to select group. Group's going to give us that context. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to create that, and we're going to call this our learning pathway group. You're going to name it whatever you want. But I would tend to name it something that's going to be similar to the name of your learning portal. Right? So we're going to go ahead, type that in. We can give it a description here if we want. It's going to remain private. We're going to allow all of our members of this group to contribute. And then I can add people. So I can, add some users in. So let's see, I'll add Adele. We'll add, I don't know, Brian, and we'll add one more, Christy here. So we can put them in. We can say if they're owners, right? Or if they're just contributors. I'm just going to keep it at, actually, we'll make Adele also an owner. And I'm going to go ahead and click create, and it's that simple. Now, what this has done is created that security context for us. It's also, though, created SharePoint under the hood to house documents and some other things that we're going to tie into a little bit later. But we've created that, and it says, not much to see here because we have no channels, no content. So the first thing we need to do now is to create a private channel tied to it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to say we want to create a channel, right? And I want to show you there's a couple ways we can do it from create here. We can also write off the banner. They try to make it real simple, right? So I can create it right from there or from the top, and I can give that channel a name, and I'll just say this is our pathway video preview, we'll call it video review channel. And I can give it again a description. It is a group channel. It's already tied to the learning pathway group since I created it from here. I can add a little image if I'd like, so I can go ahead, click, and let's say we want to grab, I don't know, let's go to pictures, and we'll take this one here, go ahead and add that. So I can have something, make it a little more attractive, click create. And once we're finished, we now see under channels within our group, we now have that added. So we have now this private group that only the people who are members of can see content that's been posted here, can post to it, and again, then they can review it and publish that. But the other step we need, and I'm going to check my mail, says it's complete, is we want to be able to, we're going to go ahead and open, just so you can see, there's our learning pathway, done, right? Complete with content, videos people can watch, playlists that are in here. We want to be able to have content automatically surface here, right? Make it available as it's newly available, have it just show up for them. So I need to create something because everybody is going to be able to see this. I need a channel that everybody has access to. So we're going to come back and we're going to create one more channel. This one we'll call our Learning Pathways video. Again, we can give it a description. We're going to make it company-wide in this case. We're going to click the plus. I've got a learning icon there. There we go, because it's a little, our learning videos for training where we're going to post custom ones. We're going to go ahead and save that. We don't have any content here yet. We'll add some in a bit. But now we have content where people can go in, post it to the private channel, and then when they're ready, publish it over to here. We'll integrate it tomorrow. But now we have those two channels and the security. So now we're ready to actually start publishing content, making it available, and pulling that in. Any questions in here?
Anyone post to the private channel?
No, because it's private, only the people who are part of that channel. Great question.
You could probably build something if you wanted to have like users.
A user contributed? Absolutely, yeah. So we could do another one like that open one, perhaps, and you could say user contributed, tacit knowledge, and then people could see the latest user contributed content. Sure.
I wonder if you could build something where the users can submit to a private area and only the admins can see to approve, or that would have to be outside of this tool.
No, so that's what we're doing with this channel, that only certain people, so it can be approved by the people who are going to administer and control all the content. Can we get a copy of the deck? Was a question asked by our audience. Yes, it is being provided tomorrow when I post the recordings. Provision this already, any changes? Not yet, and I don't, as far as general availability, I'm not aware of any. That's all I can say. I'm not aware of any changes. But stay tuned, yeah, right? So it's preview, so it's for test and dev right now. Any dates when French language will be available? That's a great question. I'm going to table that. I don't have the definitive answer. Can we zoom in? Somebody asked to zoom out. Now they want to zoom back in. We can't see you. Here you go. I'll do a happy medium. There we go. I provisioned SharePoint Starter. It now shows up under site type when provisioning a site. Do I have to take it out of the app store? That might have been when you did that. It may have happened. It should not be showing up as just a site that everybody can see, but we'll get some more information on that to follow up on that for you. Hello, Nashville, Tennessee. Mike will be posting. Oh, thank you. It's not 60 plus, it's 50 plus, but thank you. I didn't do that much work. I was lazy. Which encoder are you using? I'm using Microsoft Teams to stream. So, and I'm going to go ahead, just throw these out there. We'll come back to them because I want to make sure we hit all the pieces. Any other questions about the stream component before we move on? Making sense? We've provisioned a site. We've provisioned a place to make our custom content. The next thing we want to do, we want to be able to have users talk about learning, right? We want to facilitate dialogue. Learning isn't just throw up to people, here it is. It's dialogue. Maybe there's stuff you don't have in your site that people want. Maybe you're doing a live event, like we're gonna embed live tomorrow in here, and people want to talk about and converse and ask questions as a part of it. So how do we do that? We use Yammer. Why Yammer? Does anybody know why we use Yammer instead of Teams for discussion? Here.
You could go social and viral within the company.
Social and viral, but within the whole company, right? Teams is meant for a team. It has they've upped it to, you can get up to 5,000 people, I think now. It's 5? We're at 5 now, right? 5,000 in Teams now? Up to 5,000, yeah. I don't know if anybody doing a team that big, but you could.
I have a customer.
You do?
Yes.
Wow, it's doing 5,000. So you can do 5,000, but when we talk about broad orgs, right? So I got a couple of very big orgs sitting here. Like if I have 100,000 plus people and I want a discussion for everybody, that's Yammer. Yammer is topical focused discussions that scale. You could have millions of users, right? No limits. So Yammer is ideal for that, right? Really handling that Q. And in fact, they've added Q&A into Yammer now that you'll see in just a moment. So from a Yammer piece, again, it helps you connect people. You can see here even video being integrated in, and it now enables you to do things at a divisional, at a org level, but focused on topics. And this topic is learning pathways or whatever you choose to call your learning solution. So to integrate this in, again, simple, simple, easy peasy. So I'm going to go ahead, minimize that, minimize this, bring back up my site. No limit to the number of users in Yammer, correct. Yammer for threaded discussions. Yes, Jesse. I got excited. So let's go ahead and bring up our site. To provision Yammer, I'm going to go ahead, we'll open a new tab here, and we're going to see here is our Yammer. And so I already have, a couple of baseline groups here. But what we want to do is create one for our learning pathways or whatever you name your solution. So I'm going to name it the same. We're going to go in, we're going to click create a group. It's pretty simple. It's internal, right? Not an external group. We'll call this learning pathways discussions. And it would help if I spelled right. There we go. I could add group members, but I don't need to. Does anybody know why I don't need to add people here? Anybody in the room? Because I'm making it public, which means you can join, anybody can join, but you don't need to join to see the Q&A. It's readily available, and you don't need to join to ask a question. You can just post to it. So if I wanted to, maybe I could make some people admins, and typically I would. For the sake of time, we're not going to. I'm just going to go ahead, create the group. It's now created it. So I'm probably going to want to go in and make an announcement. So let's go ahead and I'll say, welcome to Learning Pathways Discussions. So I'm going to give an announcement. Notice I marked it as an announcement. And then I can go ahead and post here, some verbiage. I'll just say blah, blah, blah for the sake of time. And I'll post that. And so I've got an announcement with a title that people can see. They can comment on it. But people can go ahead. And the beauty of this, again, look at here. Within Yammer, we have updates. We have questions for Q&A. You can set up now Q&A. And then all this, I don't have to send my users to this. Tomorrow, you'll see, we can drop this right in to our site. We can have it fully integrated. So users don't have to think about, I got to go to Stream for videos. I got to go to SharePoint for content. I got to go to Yammer for discussions. People don't care about product. They care about, I'm coming here to learn. Bring it all together, right? So that's what we would do here. We would pull it in, and we're going to do that tomorrow. But that's all we had to do to set up our group. It's that simple. It's that easy. I could go in further, customize a group, make it pretty. I have directions around all that in my directions. I show you how to upload images and blah, blah, blah. For the sake of time, I'm looking at the clock up there. We're not going to do that. All right. Any questions about Yammer before we move on? No questions. All right. So and I had none there. Good. So we're going to go ahead. And like I said, we'll stay past the hour on here to answer questions, but I want to make sure we build the rest of our components. The last piece we're going to set up today is Teams. Teams provides a great collaboration service. And so if I have people who are a part of that group, that security group, who are going to manage videos, who are going to manage my site that we set up, maybe manage that same Yammer group, etc. I want a place where they can discuss, where they can see works in progress, they can share thoughts and ideas. We're going to build all that out, the pieces that we want to pull in tomorrow, but I want to build a team, but I don't want it to be disjointed. I want it already tied to security that we've set up. And where did we set up some security today? The Office 365 group, right? Exactly. We set up a group where we can go ahead and do so. So, when I think about real quick with Teams itself, a couple of quick things. Teams is kind of that meeting workplace where we do our work, where I can pull in lots of stuff. So from an admin perspective, the people who are administering this, we're going to be able to pull in views to all the things they need to do to administer the whole solution. With that, again, all they got to do is go to Teams. They don't even have to go to the site. They can go just there to do all their work. And it's all secure, it's compliant. If I need to pull in additional pieces from our org, maybe if I have a brainstorm and we're pulling some of that in, I can pull views to that and do all that. And it is simple to provision. So what we're going to do is come back in here. Whoops. Real quickly, let's bring up our site. And in this case, I'm going to open Teams. I'm opening it in the browser because I'm in a private one. So here comes Teams. There we go. So we need to set up a team to manage all this. So I'm going to click Create or Join a Team. We'll click Create. And we have two options, and this is the key. I can build it from scratch. Most of you are probably used to doing that. But you're probably not aware that I can create one based off an existing group. All right, so I can come in and say, create from a group or a team. If I create it from an existing team, it'll take the structure and replicate the structure, right? So it's kind of not really a template, but kind of a template. But if I do it off of a group, that means anything I've done with that group is automatically layered in and consumed, including the people I added to that. So if I come in, I'm going to say an Office 365 group. Normally, if you have a bunch, you got to search for them. I only have one, so that makes it pretty easy. We'll go ahead and select that and click Create. And it's now going to create a team based off of that group. So there we go. It's done. If I come in here and we take a look at Manage the Team. Right, here's me, here's Adele. And so I can go ahead and quickly start to add, and I can do it managing the users to that group for the other one. I don't even have to go back to Stream now because I can manage my users here as well. So I can continue to add people, manage it all right through the Teams interface now for management.
The channels you created in Stream come over to the channels of Teams?
Great question. So she asked if the channels we did in Stream come over here. Out of the box, no. That's what we're going to do tomorrow as a part of this, right? So we're going to layer those in so they can very easily be wrapped in. And in fact, we will. We're going to create a channel, right, within our team for Stream. And then we're going to bring in both the public and the private view so that I don't have to go someplace separate. So now we've got to play. So what we've done, think about this. And I have one last thing I'm going to quickly show. And I'm going to give you some homework. And then I'll stay for questions and I'll stay on as long as you want and as long as in here. What we did was we created our foundation, right, here in our Learning Pathways site. Did I already get off of it? I must have gotten off. Oh, here we go. We created a foundation to house everything. We set up Stream, 2 channels for managing custom content that we can create, right? We set up Yammer to facilitate conversations. We also then set up a team to manage all of this. So tomorrow, what we're going to do in 1 hour is we're going to integrate them all. We're going to flesh out the team for managing it end to end, all the aspects. We're going to wrap in our other pieces and look how we can extend, change names, do all that kind of stuff that people were asking about, right? And customize the site. Because the hard work's been done. We've stood up all the foundational pieces. Now it's just a matter of pulling them together. One last thing, though, that I do want to show you is this. So, and this goes along with your homework. You might want to think about adding to your stream a couple of videos tonight, if you're here. I have some videos I'm just going to throw in and have ready for tomorrow. But to create video, there's 2 primary ways that I'm going to cover in 2 minutes. The first of which, if you have Windows 10, you have. If you go in and click or just search on it, you will find, where did I put it? Video editor. You can search down at the bottom, or you can go into here. Video editor allows you to create video right out of Windows. So I can go in here, I can say, hey, I want a new video, start a new video project. And it's a full-fledged video environment. If you have existing pieces, you can go in, drag them in to create a storyboard, slice, dice, add transitions, all that. It's video editor. I have a link to it in the documentation. You can go out and grab. But if you have Windows 10, you own this. And it's on your computer. Just probably don't see it unless you search the first time. The other is this, and we've been using it, PowerPoint. Built into PowerPoint is a feature called recording, where I can record a show, I can do a screen recording. Remember, show me how? As quick as I can walk and talk through something, whatever I say and do on the screen is going to get recorded and made available. And then I can publish it to Microsoft Stream right from here. If you don't see this option in PowerPoint, this is what you do. I'm going to make a bunch of people mad who manage this, who maybe don't want you to see it, but I'm going to show you anyways. If you don't see it, if you have Office 2016, 2019, you have the latest click to run, go to File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and on the right-hand side, you'll see this box, Recording, and it will be unchecked. Just check it, and then say,
I think it's off by default.
it is off by default. I don't know why either. I'm telling you, go wild, turn it on. When you turn it on, there you go. It's on, you can go ahead, and like I said, screen recording, I hope this doesn't kill my other video. There you go. When I click screen recording, my mouse turns into a crosshair. I can grab the whole or just a section, right, of the video. I click record, 3, 2, 1. Gives me a countdown. It's now recording. Whatever I say, do. Oh, look at this. Oh, isn't that nice? Blah, blah, blah. And there's all this, right? So when I'm done, I simply click stop. I can pause if there's a process going. Click stop. It automatically drops that video into here. I can play it. I can edit the playback right here, trim the video. And when I'm done, publish. Simple. So you have a couple of quick tools that you can use. We went really fast. I should have scheduled this for an hour and a half, but people have been saying we want 1 hour. So tomorrow it'll fit easier in. But are there questions? I know there were a lot of stuff posted. I'm going to start going through. If you stay on, I'll hang on. But what I'd like to do is this. We're going to go ahead and I am going to share. I've got this screen. It's sharing my whole, oh, well, people can see what we're doing here. If you have any questions, go ahead. You can start posting them. I'll hang on. But again, just to kind of recap. Oh, and I had it in my PowerPoint. I already closed PowerPoint. Or did I? Yeah. Here we go. Last thing. So kind of just to wrap real quick. And I already mentioned this. We provisioned the pathway, created the stream channel or group. Oh, sorry. Got hidden behind there. We created the Yammer, created a team. We have 2 tools. Where are your 2 tools for video creation, custom content?
Video editor
And PowerPoint, yeah. PowerPoint, and you can publish them to stream then, right? So, and if you have this in-house, do so tonight. Create some content and just throw it up there. What we're going to do tomorrow, just to recap, we're going to go and I'm going to take all the pieces. We're going to pull them into one integrated solution. It should be seamless to your users. They don't care about all these pieces. But the beauty of it is, as IT, you can get your hands and feet wet without rolling out everything to everybody to get out of the gate in a nice controlled solution that's already going to support them for learning. We're also going to go through how to customize what you show and don't show and how to extend that. And that's it for today. So we're wide open for questions. And what I'm going to do is come on back here and I'm going to change my screen view to just me. You can see my bald head. So I'm going to start going through questions that are published. Any questions here with people that are present? Does that seem difficult, easy? It is. It's all, I haven't done anything. So I got a couple of questions here that people have been posting.
You're not an admin. You can't do any of this, so you must be an admin.
The only person that needs, in the beginning, this thing's hiding my face. In the beginning, you need to be a tenant, whoever's setting it up, the initial piece, you need to be a tenant admin. After that, you just need to be given admin access at those like Yammer, if it's open to your org, then you can provision anybody can provision Yammer, right? So you don't need to be anything special there. Teams, if it's being restricted creation, then yeah, you'd have to have somebody create that for you. But they make you the owner, then you're the owner. Same thing with Stream, right? So you need the ability to create at each of those levels, but you don't need to be a top level throughout. Just that initial piece needs that.
Okay.
So it really needs to be a partnership between the people who are in communications, training, et cetera, rolling that out. So we have questions that people are posting. Somebody said, very useful, thanks a lot, you're welcome. And we're gonna go ahead and start just going through the Q&A. I'll start.
Up to where I posted after that, it's there's a couple. There's a really good question on, is there a way, and you may touch on it tomorrow, but is there a way to make content that is most liked appear at the top of the list of resources? So it gets more interactive with the content that's actually being displayed. So a video on Teams that everybody's liking, had that surface up even higher.
Within the portal itself, when we integrate it?
I'm assuming.
So there's a couple of things. Number one, so I'll go through. So the question, I'm sorry, you wouldn't have heard that in the people remote. So the question was, is there a way to have like what did you say? The
content that is most liked.
Most liked, highest prioritized. So there's different elements that we're surfacing. So number one, there is a way to elevate that up for the Stream piece, and we'll cover that tomorrow. That's actually, you have that choice to show the order in which Stream content will appear. It can be chronological, it can be based off of most popular and trending, et cetera. So we have that ability to do that. And we'll show that. Yammer, as people reply and interact with a particular thread, it automatically gets rebubbled up, right? So that's automatically going to happen with discussions. Those will get rehydrated up to the top as people continue to interact with a particular thread. Within SharePoint content and in the site itself, there are options with the web part, how they're presented, how content is presented, and certainly there are things you can do from a custom standpoint, and we'll hit some of that as well tomorrow. All right, we already talked about code behind. We talked about custom learning center. Yes, this is the same thing. Instructions documented, I already talked about. Yes, they are, and I'm going to give copies. Copy of the deck, yes, both recordings will be provided tomorrow. I provisioned this anyway. I already talked about this. Is there any changes from preview to general availability? We don't know yet. I provisioned the SharePoint starter, and now I already talked about that as well. I have to follow up on that. I don't know why you're seeing that as a template moving forward.
The one right after Kristen, the crystal one at the bottom? Yes, that's where you
Is it possible to have confirmation within Stream when someone, great, yeah. Crystal, okay, great question. So Crystal asks, is it possible to have confirmation within Stream when someone has watched the training for the entire duration and or have a sign off at the end, which is tied to a policy? So Kristen, there's two parts to that. Number one, there's the metrics that we're doing behind the scenes. I will tell you, this actually just came up. I had a customer call with some folks from the Stream team. Christine Torok was on the call with one of my customers. So Christine, if you're out there, hello. During that, one of the things that was discussed was the fact that in the Office 365 video previously, we had a little more metrics showing for users. There is more on the horizon around that coming. There are things, however, that you can do today. There is a great blog post that shows leveraging the power of Power BI for creating Power BI reports for very granular views and reporting against what's happening. So you can also set that up to get very granular reporting on what people are doing. But I think what's most pertinent is what you hit on at the end of your question. Can we have a way to show that they finished and that they have mastery, right? It's the requirements, they've met the requirements around that. And the short answer is yes, we can now. We didn't have this before. Typically that's done in a learning management system. Having said that, Stream and creating those PowerPoint recordings, and you can do this in Stream as well, you can now embed forms. Microsoft Forms allows you to create quizzes, tests, as it were, right? Surveys where you can test mastery. It tracks all of the answers. You can even see how long it takes them to answer each question. That's all available, and it will make that a part of the posted video. So you can actually embed that as well. In the learning scenario that we're going to do, you can even go one step further. You could do the video embedded in a page that we'll show, and then you can actually embed a form or some other mechanism that you may have that you want to have in that query. So the short answer is yes. It really depends on what you want to do, but that's certainly something we can do some more in-depth content on later. And there's already some good content around the whole forms and Stream piece today. Can you use an existing group? We did. I'm assuming you posted that before we did. So to create the teams, yes, you can. Or if you already have one and you're wanting to embed that, yeah, any group will work with this, right? So I am missing the API for Stream to automate. That's a great, so we get a lot of questions about the API for automating approval. I'm going to show you when we do the integration tomorrow how to do approvals. It's not automated. It's a simple click. There is literally a click, and so we're not putting a lot of overhead, but it's not automated today. The APIs are coming. They've announced that it is on the roadmap. They're just not released. So, be on the lookout for that. But what you can do today, that's why I set up the 2 groups as is. And I'll show you tomorrow. We'll take a video that's been reviewed and we'll make it available to the broad masses. It's a one manual click. Provisioning is done in there. Thomas Love went live with us and did a provision. What? I'm giving a hand to Thomas Love. You're my hero, dude. So he provisioned it. Very cool. Use Yammer for threaded. You have created at least 2 Office 3. How is the user experience seeing at least 2 groups with the same? So when you're talking about that, yeah, so I did create, I only created the one that's doing Stream and Teams. Yammer creates its own group. Totally get that. I'm looking into how we can unify that and bring that over. But today I have not seen the mechanism. From a user standpoint, though, they don't notice any difference. And especially from a user experience, that's why tomorrow we're going to integrate everything together so that you don't have to worry about where users are. They shouldn't even have to think about this. It's a one-stop shop for all of it. Very helpful. Somebody lost audio. Sorry if you lost audio. Audio back. I didn't do anything, but I'm glad to hear it. That's it. That's all of our questions that we had. So any other questions?
Can we in the future have like an authoring where we show how to build recorded video and put the form in there for compliance? Is that a topic that would be of interest to Microsoft? Oh,
so how, you mean a video that shows how to create that?
Or like a session we're doing today, but show how to author the content and then add
yes.
more.
So here's the question to everybody on the line. We still have 72 people that hung on. Wow, that's kind of cool. So the question was, can we have a follow-up thing, like a video that shows how to author video and then include the form with the video? So the
A
short,
live event like this, and we could ask questions.
oh, and do it live as a Q&A. Yeah, we could probably do that.
Like a future session.
Yeah, like a 1 hour, just one-off session, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool.
That's an easy 1 hour. Yeah, so we can absolutely do that. Maybe what we'll do is we'll broaden it out, because to fill an hour, that only takes 10 minutes to show. But what we could do is then show, like, actually do some examples. I could do a walkthrough of the video editor in Windows, and maybe some other options. Somebody else said we have communication sites disabled. It seems like we have to enable for, yeah, that's absolutely correct, JK. It wasn't a joke, it was JK, that's the initials. So JK, yeah, said they have it disabled. So yeah, without communication sites, you cannot provision learning pathways. Has to be enabled to provision it, because it is a templated communications site, right? But pre-populated with content. Yeah. Anything else?
Install it, then disable it again.
Great point. So for those who are still on, and we still have 69 people, wow. What you could do is enable it, install it, and then go and disable again, so people aren't creating new. But then you'd already have the site, right? So you could do it as a quick, get it up there and get it in. You guys are quiet. Anything else? So how many of you could go back to, are you heading back today over to, so I don't want to say your company name. So you're heading back to your company, and do you have tenant admin access?
I don't have full-time admin access. I have SharePoint admin.
You have SharePoint admin. Do you know who does?
Yes.
So you could set this up today. So you could set up, you could go back today, because it's not going to take you long, have all the stuff, and then tomorrow, are you coming back tomorrow, or are you going to be remote?
I know.
You can come back tomorrow? You could sit, if you get them to do the base, you could go ahead and tomorrow integrate it all in, be done, right? Any other questions? I keep hiding behind the screen. I got to quit leaning that way. Anything else?
Thank you.
So I'm going to stay here for any of the people that are here. I'll take questions about anything 365. We can have, I promise I would talk about anything people want to talk about, show whatever you want to see. But we're going to sign off here.
I'll wait to see the questions lined up with.
So can I have 2 separate learning pathways in one tenant? Yeah, you actually can. You just give them different names. They're just communication sites. They'll all come pre-populated, but yeah, so if you wanted to have one for Division X and one for Division Y, absolutely,
Great question.
that's a great question. And the beauty of it is you own it. Why not leverage the heck out of it, right? It is a great base for anything where you want to have communications and learning for your people. Yeah, you don't have to have just one. That was a great question. That's Elvar. Elvar, great. So with that, I guess we're going to sign off. Thank you for the last 64 people who hung on 20 minutes past the hour. And with that, this is Mike Giannotti with our folks that are here, and bidding you have a great day. Take care, and as always, ciao. And we are ending the live event.